Hi everyone, I'm here with the monthly energy reading and psychic predictions for June 2021. I have my notes here about what came to me during my reading that I just did, so I'm going to go ahead and uh, read my notes. So when I tuned into June 2021, it is the 2nd of June today, by the way. When I tuned into this month, I saw it at the frequency vibrational color of green, in the sense of how somebody may look at an aura and see different colors and kind of get a sense of what that's about. That was the color that came to me for this month. And the color green, when I tuned in not just to what the color green means to me on an intellectual level, but also what it is representing specifically for the month of June, I got that it represents growth, also revitalization, the sense of nurturing, and the way that green vines are very lively. It could be associated with maybe the weather as well. But either way, that's the sense I was getting, this revitalization, as well as this realization, and this awareness coming through. But this awareness has to do with people kind of becoming aware of the patterns that are no longer, well, they're just mundane. Um, and people reaching past the mundane and wanting something more. So it's the first gist that I got for the month. As I tuned in deeper and I asked to see more specifically, what I saw was a vision of a door opening, and it was like this door was opening up to confusion. There was someone behind it who was very confused, and I don't know if you've ever seen the cover to it's a punk rock band called the Descendants, and anyways, they have this face that's drawn on it that kind of represents just like the stereotypical, family person that's just kind of boring on some level. But anyways, I saw that face behind this door, and it was as if this face was kind of confused and not really sure what to do with themselves. So there's just this sense of not knowing what to do with yourself, not knowing what to do with your time, bored with old habits, um, and the typical activities that would usually be pleasure, or that would bring you pleasure, are unsatisfying, and it's just like kind of like you've been on this wheel for too long to the point where it's no longer satisfying. It's like the awareness of being trapped in that cycle is coming up for the month of June. You could say it's even an awareness of addiction. If you want to bring it to that, you could say that. I also saw lots of family visiting, family visiting people, and specifically this being kind of unsatisfying for a lot of people. I'm not saying that it will be for everyone, but that's like the general energy of the month that I'm seeing when I tune into it. And there definitely being a need for time to yourself this month that a lot of people may not be necessarily giving to themselves, although they may be giving themselves time, but their time is still being filled with these distractions. And so while they may have time off, you may have time set aside, you may be doing what you want to do, but you may actually just be, you know, trying to itch a scratch that just you're not really itching by just going in this cycle. And so my advice for this month would be to meditate, or really take the time to, you know, tune into yourself. Maybe even just go lay down in bed without music so the music's not distracting you, so you can really tune in, and just really find your true passion in life. I was also seeing family road trips coming up for this month. I was seeing a lot of that spiking in the first half of the month, and then towards the second half of the month, it kind of calming down, and it's almost like a spike and then going down. Um, saw a lot of excitement going on, lots of people being very excited, and there being a lot of expectations for others to be excited as well. But I was getting the sense that this excitement may not be shared with other people for this month specifically, and that could be a problem. And people may feel like they're being dragged from place to place. What came to me was the phrase idealism overshadows authenticity. And so, what that means is idealism, just the ideas that people have, their expectations, aren't necessarily grounded in reality. And so, what you think would be a good idea or should be a good idea, maybe that's just all in your head. Um, and so these ideas, this idealism is overly excited to the point where it's just like this excited idealism that's just on steroids, that's not necessarily going to be shared or accepted by other people in the way that you may want or others may want you to experience it. So I definitely got lots of air travel as well. I tuned in more to like trying to have some more like predictive types of things. Lots of air travel. Um, Biden pushing for old ideas, kind of just riding the wave, not really pushing for anything new. I don't see Joe Biden specifically doing anything very new this month. I see him really taking the mindset of being in it for the long haul, at least for the month of June. Um, and just trying to maintain himself. I do see this being a little bit stressful on him. I do see him kind of traveling from place to place and not really being like that big in the spotlight, but still obviously being in the spotlight a little bit because he's the president. And I see this being a little stressful for him, but there being a little bit of strain, but it's not bad. I don't see it being bad for him. Just kind of just maintaining throughout the month. I did get the sense that something may perk up in him about the way that he can push older ideas to the public and, you know, express things to the public in a different way, or maybe have like a new argument to back up what he's pushing, or a new argument, a new basis for why people should go along with what he's planned from the very beginning. I think last month it was that I said that Kamala Harris would be more in the spotlight. This month, June, I do see Joe Biden being more in the spotlight than Kamala Harris. And this is more of a speculative possibility that I'm not 100% sure on, but I did see like a Bitcoin and Joe Biden being associated with this, and I got the sense that Joe Biden may speak about Bitcoin, or someone associated with him may speak on it, but it would be less of a negative thing and more of a general acceptance of it into more of the mainstream from where it's been. It was becoming more accepted, and then it got pushed back down. And I'm not saying that I know what the value of it will be. This is just more like there may be some news where the negativity becomes more of a general acceptance rather than a condemnation of it. I also saw ships like in the ocean, and I'm not sure like what these ships are. It's possible they could be Chinese ships. I know there's been a lot of talk about that. But I saw ships parked in the ocean just kind of standing on standby and not really taking any action. But it's kind of like everything's just kind of frozen in time. Not frozen, but it's just there, and it's just kind of waiting it out. Just the way that maybe a tiger may see its prey but not just go after it, but may just like take its time and just watch it, stalking its prey for a little while. I'm getting a sense that there's something like that going on as like the general vibe. Overall, for June, I'm getting a relatively nice vacation vibe. But I do get the sense that it's kind of like the eye of the storm before next month things may get a lot more crazy. But this month should be I'm kind of waiting before that happens. When I asked what this month would be good for, what I got was this month is specifically good for learning to balance how to listen to others with expressing yourself. So it's kind of like a give and take balance to that. And people may not like to hear what you have to say if you're usually just kind of taking it in. Like, this is a time for you to kind of speak out, and people may not necessarily like to hear it, but it's very necessary for you to do so. Otherwise, you're going to get dragged along into just hell, basically. And this has to do with what I was seeing earlier about how there's these cycles that people are kind of trapped in, and people are trying to reach beyond the mundane. I also saw it as a vision of somebody kicking a ball in a certain direction, and the intention of this was to kick the ball so that everyone else would run after the ball. So it's kind of like this is your opportunity to kick the ball in the direction that you want it, because other people are going to follow it. And it's like in a very social sort of way, people will be following each other, listening to each other more for this month. So if you want to kind of take charge of that and kick the ball in a certain direction, so to speak, go for it. Because people will be there as an audience and be able to take it in better than usual. When I asked what this month is bad for, I got that this month is bad for poking and prodding at people and trying to really push people, trying to find the answer. That maybe if they're not saying something and you're trying to dig it out of them, this is not a good month for that. This is also not a good month for letting your excitement get the best of you. As I mentioned that earlier, overexcitement can be a problem here. So try and remain grounded. And it's better to be self-contained on some level. So try and be centered within yourself. Try and realize that other people may not necessarily be into what you're doing, and that's okay, and you can still have that experience for yourself. You don't have to make everybody else have that experience too. You can have it for yourself. Also, this month is bad for being by yourself too much. I'm not saying you shouldn't be by yourself, and on some level, earlier I was saying that you need to make time for yourself, but you also don't want to get trapped in being by yourself too much either. Specifically, I saw a vision of somebody going to like a pond area where there's everybody walking around and groups of people, like kind of like a Chinese garden or something like that. Everybody's walking around in groups, and I just saw this one person sitting there by themselves, skipping a rock in the pond, just very much so to themselves, and disconnected from other people. And I'm seeing that the more you kind of shut yourself off, the more that you get stuck in that, and it creates this pattern of loneliness and paranoia. So that's something specifically to avoid for the month of June 2021. I wanted to see kind of what would be the antidote to that, and so the antidote to that I saw would be to engage in some sort of social activity like a picnic, and this is just the way I saw it, more of a metaphor than literal. It doesn't have to be a picnic, obviously, but the way that I saw it was as if you were going to a picnic where everybody was bringing something, but only one thing, and it's kind of like everybody brings one thing to the table, and everybody has one request of what they want to do, and it's very strict within that, but it gives everybody the equal opportunity to, give and take. So overall, this month is about working with others and establishing communications in a sense of being fair and balanced, and being able to not being afraid to put up walls and kind of stand your ground, but at the very same time being open to people as well and not putting up too much of a wall or like running and hiding. It's this balance is really what this month seems to be about. So that's my reading for June 2021. Sorry it got dark on me. I don't know, the sun just went away, so I'm in the dark now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. If you like this video, you can always subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed for next month's reading. If you would like a private reading, I also offer those. You can find the information below this video for my website. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.